What a moment this is going to be for this young man, Rajah Caruth, up through the front stretch looking for the checkered flag, and he takes it.
3 wide for the lead here in Atlanta, coming back to the start-finish line.
Wow, it is close. NASCAR is going to have to take a hard look at it.
It's going to be Suarez, Mark, I think by maybe an inch.
Drag race to the start-finish line. They bang sideways at the line. Photo finish by 1/1000th of a second. Kyle Larson is the winner.
While yes, on-track performance is paramount to long-term success in NASCAR, it's not the only thing that will keep you in the seat of a stock car. How you conduct yourself off the track, in the shop, and with the media is just as important as your ability to hold a pretty wheel and see the draft at Talladega or Daytona.
Rajah Caruth behind him, checkered flag in the air, and Nick Sanchez wins the Fresh from Florida 250 at the World Center of Racing.
You're listening to Driving Change, a celebration of 20 years of NASCAR's Drive for Diversity. I'm your host, Crystal Clay.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all got to be better than that. I'm tired. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Excited to have all of you all here. My name is Brandon Thompson. I'm the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at NASCAR. We could not be more excited to host you all again. This combine time of year is always an exciting time. Obviously, it's competition, and so we know that everyone won't have a place, regardless of what happens at the end of the few days that we have here. You're now part of the Drive for Diversity and Rev Racing families. We're around. I'm sure we'll get a chance to speak with you all a little bit later, but really excited again to have you all here and look forward to the week ahead. Thank you all.
One of the goals at the outset of the Drive for Diversity program, NASCAR and Rev Racing, was to develop well-rounded drivers that would provide long-term positive impacts to the sport of stock car racing. Sure, an assessment of the driver's performance behind the wheel was crucial. They also knew that assessing media savvy and physical conditioning was equally important. The owner of Rev Racing, Max Siegel, who has been spearheading diversity efforts in NASCAR since 2009, broke down how the Combine works and what he and his team are looking for.
So the Combine is a culmination of reviewing hundreds of applications with the industry professionals. We pick those drivers that really have shown investment in their career. They've had some success, whatever form of motorsports they've been in, and they come here and they get evaluated. We evaluate them on the track, we evaluate them off the track, we get an opportunity to spend time with their family, we get to know them over a couple of days, and then as a group we get together and invite a small group that comes into Rev Racing for the year to compete. The amazing thing about the Drive for Diversity program and the Combine is that we really get to develop potential. And so what we look for is sparks of potential. We look for again, people who are passionate about what they're doing and they've invested in their careers. We do not need perfection. What we want to do with our academy style training is take these young people as far as their talent will allow them, but many of them haven't had the support. So perfection is not necessary to participate in the Combine and ultimately come to Rev.
NASCAR Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, Brandon Thompson.
The Combine is when you hear that term, I think it's obviously most closely associated probably with the NFL or NBA. And when I heard it, I wondered exactly, for the first time, like, what does that mean? Is there bench pressing involved? Are we having drivers out here running 40s and shuttle drills? Or, what are we checking? But to obviously be able to see, race cars on the track and be able to listen to the driver coaches, the driver, and the feedback, sort of behind the scenes about what the technical folks are looking for, the types of things that they are looking to hear from the driver as well. And now to be able to see where that has evolved to the point where, we're now going to karting tracks and being able to track drivers' progress. And again, we kind of tell them when we go in, this is not really about speed. What we're looking to find out is, how well you take coaching, how well you take feedback, those sort of things. So I think being able to sort of evolve, right, and see the evolution of looking at, a lot of hard skills, technical skills that are certainly important to being able to drive a race car and do it well, but moving into some of the softer skills as well in terms of the feedback. And like I said, how do you take coaching? How do you bounce back after adversity? Adding in the physical element now that we do have. So not quite shuttle drills, but there are bench presses involved, right, to be able to kind of test the stamina and physical aptitude of the drivers, because that does show up. We have had and drivers in the past who have struggled, and we've been able to see with Coach Phil Horton and the things that he's been able to do and bring from his expertise from actually working in the NBA and sort of apply some of those principles to help the drivers, succeed. And we see that carry through. And we've seen clips of whether it's, Bubba or Kyle, some of these folks who are engaging in some of these physical activities through what they're doing now. And I think a lot of that started from their roots at Rev.
In our interview with Coach Phil Horton, he let us know how his coaching style evolved.
I was an athletic trainer, for a number of years at Michigan State, Florida A&M, University of Memphis, before I even got into racing. And then, of course, with the Milwaukee Bucks. Being a strength coach, being an athletic trainer, you have to develop some type of demeanor where you have to get your point across. And with these athletes, especially the football players, because I did a lot of football training and everything, you have to be, spot on with your saying and how you handle them. But one of the big things that I never thought about would even influence me in the coaching part of it, at Michigan State, I was assigned as an athletic trainer to none other than Nick Saban for 2 years, who was a defensive coordinator and assistant head coach there. And I watched Nick Saban coach, for those 2 years. He was a taskmaster. One of the things we learned and we saw that he would not let, the next play go unless everybody, on the squad at the time who was running the scrimmage got it right. And he would repeat it over and over and over. And he was tough, So when I decided to go into the coaching part of it, I decided to emulate Nick Saban. So a lot of that comes from that right there.
This group the veterans look bigger, stronger.
Yeah, they're a lot better. I'm pleasantly surprised with how good a shape is they're in, to be honest with you. No, I'm just saying they've been working. You can tell.
This one. Have her do push-ups. Don't do that one at all, and don't do the back one. All right? Ready?
Phil is a truth teller, and I feel like everyone needs that person in your circle, and so we're really lucky to have him. His views and sort of perspective about how he sits and the way that he analyzes and the things that he is looking at and looking for are really invaluable. So I think he's a mentor. Yes, he's an X's and O's coach about like, hey, here's what you need to do to get yourself better. Here's what you need to do to get yourself faster, in better shape. But I think the counsel, frankly, that he's been able to provide, not only to myself, but I think Max would agree with that. I think a lot of the drivers and obviously the pit crew members from generations, I think would be able to tell you that. And so being able to bring the perspective of not only having been a lifelong NASCAR fan who happens to be black and from Lenore, North Carolina, someone who has worked in the NBA, someone who is really into philanthropy and those sort of things, and being able to bring all those values and all that experience to instill that, again, not only into the athletes, that being the drivers and the crew members, but also to some of the front office staff has really been good. He's certainly someone who I count as a mentor. I call him Uncle Phil.
Phil Horton has definitely left his mark on the program, but after being involved with the sport since the 90s, Uncle Phil knew the time was coming to pass the baton to the next generation.
I'm Brianna O'Leary. I am the strength and conditioning coach at Rev Racing. So I came through the D4D program on the pit crew side. So I do still change tires in the truck and Xfinity series as well.
A lot of times when I did it so long and I did it by myself, and then I started bringing in, we brought in Brianna O'Leary as our strength and conditioning coach. And I asked her one day, I said, well, what would you do different? And she told me what she would do different. I said, well, then go for it. You actually do that. And, it basically opened up a whole new area of which I was probably resistant to. I was what I was fighting against.
Brianna O'Leary, who made her Cup Series debut changing tires in 2018 at Michigan, is a graduate of the NASCAR Drive for Diversity pit crew program. In her new role as strength and conditioning coach at Rev Racing, she knows what it takes to make it to the sport's highest level and keeps an eye out during the physical assessment portion of the combine to see which drivers might make the cut.
It's been a blast. So this is now going into my second season as the strength and conditioning coach, and just seeing where my athletes started at the beginning of the year and the confidence and even the strength and fitness they've gained from then to now is just like astronomical. And it's just been like one of the funnest things to see in this job. So today we'll have our 3 groups of 5, and we're gonna run our youth drivers are going to run through like a circuit of high knees, jump ropes, ladders, sit-ups, just kind of your baseline of, you know, a little bit of every part of your body, just to see where everybody's at physically and even mentally. So obviously we don't need all-star athletes. We just need people with the will and the grind and the want to go hard and work hard. And then into season is when we really hit it hard in the gym. And as far as our older athletes, we'll run through the same circuit as well, but we'll also add in a bench press element and just to see where we're at strength-wise. Because I do think fitness and driving a race car does go hand in hand. And, you know, seasons are long, races are long, and being in shape is important. And I'm just looking for somebody who is willing to just get through it and go hard.
All right, push-ups, 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 push-ups.
You got it, 25.
Let's go, let's go. You
Easy,
got it.
easy peasy.
One.
There you go. You're almost there.
3 more, 3 more. 3 more, you can do it. You got it. There you go. Use your knees. Use one. Get up there. Let's get up there. One more. One more. There you go. Let's go, son.
You know, there is a lot on the line. There's a racing seat for them, and every bit of this combine does go into, just factored into that decision. So I would say they're nervous, but I think they're all, you know, they're all young, they're all kids, and they adapt and they learn and they make it. So they breeze through it pretty good. You know, last year, like if you don't make it this year, you know what to do this next coming up year. And even my drivers I have now, they're like, I feel good, Bree, I'm ready. I know what to expect, and I'm just like in a different place. And so I think everybody, as you know, knows what to expect, and so we'll just see how it goes.
The combine is meant to challenge drivers and help to expose weaknesses they might have in order for them to improve and grow in the sport.
We started with jump ropes. I messed up once, so I think that's when mental force comes, because I messed up once and it got stuck in my feet, and I was like, I have to continue. So it's just like pausing and continue like as fast as you can, because you cannot let like one moment make the rest of it.
Regina Servant, who joined in 2021, and Nick Sanchez, who joined in the 2018 class, both reflected on things they learned in the combine.
The combine, I think, is one of the hardest tests you will ever. I mean, at the end of the day, you are fighting for a spot, for a ride to fulfill your dreams, but it is not easy. There is a lot of people with diverse backgrounds that want to be part of the program and have an opportunity. So the program, the combine consists in different tests. One of them is media day. Another day is karting and the workout thing. Well, like a workout test or like fitness test, really. And then in the late model, we have an oval test. And I think the media test is to see how would you respond and work under pressure. Rev has also helped me a lot in that part, especially with some difficult questions that some people may ask, or like even like, we saw that you correct this person, what do you feel about this? So just how to react under stress, because when you get nervous, your first instinct maybe attack or something, and just like the program has taught me just to take a break, breathe, think about it before you say something you can regret.
I felt like, mostly I was there as, maybe a seat filler, but, I knew it was a perfect opportunity to prove myself, and I was honestly just really nervous for the media part, and, I think it showed I sucked at it, but, the driving part, I always feel like driving, once I get in the seat, it's almost like a natural feeling. Once I got on the racetrack for the third day and behind the wheel of a late model stock, I think it was a little bit easier from that point, and yeah, it was a big moment.
Mama Smith went through the combine several times before he made the cut in 2015. When we sat down with him, I asked him how much the program had changed in the 7 years he was involved with trying to make the team.
It changed a lot. It went from obviously the first year with the TV show and all the other stuff that came with a lot, but it also went from 40 people trying out to like 30 to 20, back to 30. Like the amount of people kept fluctuating. Where the people were coming from was fluctuating a lot. Their background was fluctuating a lot. Because I think there were some people that, the powers that be were just trying to get a look at somebody and see if they could make a transition. They weren't necessarily going to get picked that first year, and that was kind of part of it, right? It's like getting a taste of somebody. But a lot of those people obviously I don't know if they applied a second year or not, but a lot of them didn't come back multiple years. Like I saw a good amount of people come back multiple years, because if you were in the program, then you automatically like came back and were around for the combine and all this stuff. But if you weren't, maybe people didn't. So yeah, it took people like twice going through, I think. And then it changed from track to track. Like it was at Motor Mile, then it was at Langley, and by the time I was done, I guess they started doing it at New Smyrna. It used to be, before I got there, it was at South Boston. So all these different tracks and different venues. It was just a very different experience every time, and sometimes the physical part was high, right? We had a lot of physical training to see where we were at, and then there was the broadcast and answering questions and marketing side, media training, and see where you were at there, if you were well-spoken or if you're a little, rough around the edges.
Media development is a learned skill. It's hard to translate your thoughts and love of racing when the red light of the camera is pointed at you and the microphone is hot. That's why a lot of effort is placed into media training, both at the combine and once a driver makes it into the program. Erica Wilkerson is a senior director of multicultural and youth marketing with NASCAR, and is also a graduate of the 2011 class of NASCAR's diversity internship program. Erica provided us with a little insight into what goes into media training day at the combine.
Yes, so we are here at the Advanced Auto Parts Drive for Diversity Combine, and we are doing media evaluations for our potential drivers. So what that means is we're going to take a look at them and ask them some questions, do some interviews, and see how well they answer. As a marketer, right, at NASCAR, I'm looking for someone who's got a good answer, who thinks, and then they speak. I'm looking for how they're sitting, how they're moving. I'm also looking for someone that comes up with the original answers. With a series of 5 people on a panel, sometimes there's going to be repeat answers, but it's all in how you change the way that you actually answer the question. And then lastly, I'm looking for someone that smiles and that looks relaxed. I know media is not fun. This isn't fun, but we're here, and honestly, this is really great. Like, it gives them the passion. This gives them opportunity to talk about their passion of racing. So I'm looking for someone that's going to tell me, I really love racing, and this is why I love it, and this is why I think you should choose me. Like, this is, we're here to judge. So this is why you should choose me. So yes, that's what I'm looking for. The participants will receive their feedback in many ways. First off, this is just day 1, so they've got 2 more days. They've got a chance to be evaluated in the moment, right? We give feedback when we can, and I've actually spoken with 1 or 2 of them after their media evaluations to say, really good job. Maybe stop twitching, stop doing this, and just, in the moment feedback is critical. But then obviously day 2, they've got to go over there to Trackhouse Motorplex, and then they've got to go down to Ford Speedway on day 3. So after those series, those 3-day event, they're going to make their way to learn more from the diversity team and Rev Racing. And that's when they'll learn the decision of everybody in here and those that are outside of this room. But I think those that did receive the feedback from me now in this moment, they appreciated it, they understood, and they didn't take it in a bad way. I think they're doing a really good job of learning right now, because that's really what this is about, is learning a new way to be evaluated and to realize that this is your future, this is what you want, and we're happy to have you here.
We'll go ahead and open it up. So we'll start with questions.
How do you take negative feedback, or just feedback, right? That's some criticism, and then you flip it when you're talking about the racetrack. So for those that give you feedback on the racetrack, hey, you could have did this, you could do that. Tell me how you take it, and then how do you change? We'll start with Nathan.
This is a big part of racing. Under my posts and stuff, I've definitely got a ton of negative comments. Usually I'll just block them, or I'll keep it there for motivation.
What is the impact, do you think, for you and other racers in Mexico to have the Mexico Series racing in LA before the Clash next year?
Oh, that's a very good one. I think it means different things. First of all, we all dream to be part of the big NASCAR track, so this means an opportunity to get closer to that goal for all the Mexican drivers.
Mama Smith's career as a driver didn't pan out the way he wanted, but he found a way to be involved in the sport in a different way in front of the camera. And he also found a way to give back to the program and help younger drivers to achieve their goals.
I think the last time I was a part of the program was on this side, helping kids. And I was a part of the media training side, and Advanced Auto did a great job with putting that whole thing together for them. And we actually shot like real commercials. And I helped work them through just being authentic and just letting it fly. And so it's been a cool experience for sure.
You're ready.
All right, Caleb, have you done any to camera before?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. You're gonna read these, right? We have a couple cards. You wanna make sure that you're slow, like you read it beforehand so you know it's coming. High energy, smile before you start, smile when you end, finish out the camera, okay?
Is this fine?
Yep, you're good. Right in the middle. Perfect.
My name is Caleb Johnson, and this is the 2022 Advanced Auto Parts NASCAR Drive for Diversity Combine.
How old are you?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Man, you got a long way to go.
Thank you, yeah.
Just keep your head down, keep digging. You know, it's enjoy the process of getting better. I know wanting to make the levels and moving up is huge, but make sure you enjoy it too, because it should be fun. The minute it's not fun, then what are we doing, right? So make sure you keep that in perspective. But bro, go get this championship. Good luck and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
If you need anything, just give me a holler, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Drivers like LeVar Scott, class of 2021, have taken what they've learned from the program veterans like Mamba and have paid it forward by acting as coaches during the Combine.
This was a year ago, 2 years ago, I'd have been sweating, nervous, but this year, I don't know why, but the media stuff's picked up a lot, just doing different things, and I've been in different scenarios where I have that feeling and know how to deal with the nervousness. I have Roger there, Nick, a few other people I know from NASCAR was there asking a few questions. It's always really good because it's the questions you're going to get when you actually make it into the higher levels. People are going to test you and ask you different tough questions to see where you're at with them and how you can answer them. So it's always good to have those questions and have a knowledge of what it's going to be like when you get there.
In May of this year for Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, Nick Sanchez drove a throwback paint scheme celebrating the 20 years of the Drive for Diversity program and was able to put his number 2 Rev Racing Chevrolet on the pole.
He was the last truck and made it count. 7th career pole in his 32nd start.
That's pretty good average, isn't it?
Yes, and he's throwing it back to the Drive for Diversity 20th anniversary. And a lot of talented drivers out there through that program, Nick Sanchez being one of them, Raja Caruth,
Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace.
I still say this is probably a really good reason why I'm here. It's because of this program, and I'm not the only example. I mean, it's just an opportunity to drive at some of the highest levels in NASCAR. And Rev and the NASCAR D4D program gave me that opportunity, and it's not just me. There's so many other drivers in the national level, pit crew members. I mean, you walk down pit road, I mean, you can't go to a single pit box without seeing a D4D alumni. So I think that's really important, and I think this paint scheme just is a big thank you to NASCAR and Max for all they've done.
Speaking of the pipeline, I want to acknowledge all the other Rev Racing drivers showing their commitment to development and being here to support their teammates. But I say it with my wife all the time. There were opportunities that we didn't even dream that were available to us. There were people that invested in us professionally. When I took a look at what was happening in the landscape and being able to partner with NASCAR, we said, if we don't do it, who will? And so, to be on this journey for the last 16 years with NASCAR and Chevrolet and our sponsors' unwavering commitment, to see Kyle, Daniel, Bubba, Nick, pit road, I mean, I can't say enough. It reminds me when I get up in the morning why we do it. We can celebrate, the most high-profile success stories in the crew and behind the wheel, but I'm very proud of the contribution that our participants, our graduates make to the industry, and just seeing them as human beings. And to see all of our graduates even come back and pour back into those that are in the program right now speaks a lot about their character, their commitment, how much they care about, the individuals, and really being able to mentor them. But for me, the personal development is way more rewarding than getting a pole.
Max Siegel and Brandon Thompson also took a minute to reflect on how the program and the Combine has been able to evolve over the years.
And then one of the things that we enjoy about our partnership with NASCAR is that we're constantly evolving. We're chasing excellence and evolution and holding each other accountable. I will tell you that we did a lot more promoting and marketing of the program to get people interested at the very beginning. Then we took a look, on an annual basis, what are we doing right or wrong as an organization? How do we get better? How do we support our drivers? And so for me, it starts by casting a very wide net, developing relationships across the entire industry. When we go to get recommendations in our selection process and our resume review, we have complete total engagement, I'd say, across the entire industry, which has been great because we all feel good about the talent that comes out of that evaluation process. When we first started, we had a different model, and then we said, we wanted to go to the academy-style training and be able to bring in our participants at a young age, be inspired by the Nick Sanchez's within the organization, but also see a pathway without having to leave Rev Racing to develop and grow. I don't know if you want to comment on that, but these guys are constantly pushing us to get better at that.
We have kind of found a mechanism within the combine that continues to push through. In fact, we even expanded the combine model a bit to include the, the pit crew members. What I would say is that what I'm encouraged by is, there are literal NASCAR Hall of Famers who are now a part of that selection committee for those who go to, who get invited and selected to the combine. And not only are they on the committee, like we get ballots from them, right? And so I can think back to the first combine I went to, probably in 2006 at South Boston. Some of those same tracks we have gone back to, revisited those types of things, but the process and the folks who were in the room and those types of things has certainly evolved a great deal. And to Max's point about evolution, I think that's really what it's about. So there's nothing like being able to see drivers perform on the racetrack to be able to make that evaluation. But I think the people who are opining, if you will, in benchmarking, right, who we're able to benchmark against, has certainly evolved, and that has certainly been reflected, I think, in the talent that you've seen come through the program over that handful plus of years.
The Drive for Diversity Combine is just one step in a driver's journey to making it as a NASCAR superstar. While we mostly associate on-track performance with a driver's success, the ability for a driver to effectively communicate to the media translates into them relating to the fans, which in turn helps to grow a driver's star power, which is where we are headed next time on Driving Change.
There it is. What up? That's all we got. What up? People in the back, what up? There we go. Man, I appreciate y'all coming out for Bubba's block party and making this special.
Driving the number 5 Chevrolet for Hendrick